Sorry about that. Can I ask you a question? Doesn't it make you want to cry out loud? He promised me faithfully he'd be on time. I'm only a couple of streets away, it happens, he declared. Well, that's taxi drivers for you. Me, I'm never late for things. Well, hardly ever, to be truthful. I can't drive myself at the moment, a dodgy D. I don't want it seizing up while I'm changing from second into third on that busy road coming out of Clentriliog. So, nothing for it, I suppose, but to sit here and be patient. Look you. La-di-da, la-di-da. Is it me, or do you find these COVID lockdown days have the effect of bringing to mind unforgotten memories, long streams of them? They enter, uninvited, I may say, into my consciousness like gate crashers at a teenager's party in the 1970s, clutching a bottle of tepid Hirondelle as their supposed and presumed ticket of admission to the festivities. Ringing any bells? You really got me. His head was thrust out of the window of the third floor sixth form common room as I crossed the empty quadrangle of my school. His hair needed cutting. It is November 1964. I am a fusty, short-trousered, naive. As I stare upwards, his eyes seem focused on something behind me. You really got me, he repeats assertively. And then, as if reeled in by some mysterious force, he, or at least his head, since that is all I could see of him, suddenly disappears back into the room, and the high window bangs shut. Oh, yeah. Another image comes to mind. I observe myself toying with some geography homework. A textbook is perched on the top of an old Singama sewing machine I use for my desk. I am sitting in the upstairs bedroom my parents built as an extension for my grandmother after her husband died. Now, just 2 weeks later, old age, coupled with a chesty cough, has claimed her too. I have inherited the room. More like a depository for unwanted junk. I stare disinterestedly out of the back window, watching my father tending an apple tree. The poignant sentiments of Gilbert O'Sullivan's Alone Again naturally creep languidly up the stairs from the kitchen. The small transistor radio sits next to the government-issue Christmas pudding Uncle Berwin brought back from the Second Battle of the Somme. Uneaten, still secure in its metal tin and its cellophane wrapper. They should have known I wasn't partial to raisins, Uncle Win reminded my Auntie Nesta when he was safely back home in Maesteg during the unforgiving Spanish flu pandemic of Christmas 1918. I wrote it down clearly on my papers, he reminded her. When he passed away in 1973, I think it was, all alone, in a small room that he occupied in a Carlowin Bay care home, the pudding, still intact, was found on my uncle's bedside, next to an uneaten Cadbury's fruit and nut bar. My mother, ever keen to preserve family history, claimed the ancient festive delicacy as her own. She ate the chocolate bar, Waste not, want not, she said, munching contentedly. My recollection changes to an overcast Sunday afternoon in Llandovery. It is around 3:15 p.m. I find myself gazing into a closed record shop where a carefully choreographed display of Paul McCartney's Wings' London Town LP glares back at me provocatively. Linda looks happy. Denny seems somehow ill at ease, and as for Paul, well, you'll see. I smile. The pavement outside the store is surprisingly wide, I notice. There is a story going about that Sir Paul is negotiating with the Morriston Male Voice Choir to record an album of traditional Welsh folk songs under the working title of Aber Road or A Bigger Bangor, though I rather suspect it is nothing more than a rumour. A dull drizzle begins its descent. With a little luck, track 1 on side 2, if I recall correctly, on the vinyl. With a little luck, I shall make it back to my room in my rented flat before the real rain falls. Different times for different situations. And different people, of course. World peace, love, harmony between nations, new ways of doing things when this pandemic is at an end. A fresh understanding, cooperation, tolerance even. Secure in the knowledge that the whole world has undergone, yet survived a terrible threat. A good friend of mine told me, "You must know, Mr. Delwyn Parry," he said, "crises like this lay bare weaknesses. They magnify all the existing problems running like sores through society, the whole world over. You do realise there is nowhere to hide. Mark my words," he said. In 30 years' time, I visualise my great niece showing her children the wonderful display of face masks worn during the great COVID pandemic of 2020. The National COVID Museum of Wales occupies the site of the former Swansea Grand Theatre. Did you remember to take your free United Commercial Health Services patented pill this morning? My great niece asks Thomas, her younger son. You know it is 100% guaranteed to protect against every known disease, malady and virus, she cautions him. Thomas nods. He is mesmerised by the dazzling array of colourful protective visors, resplendent in their smart glass cases. Now, let's see. I reckon if the driver puts his foot down and, with a little luck, I will make it to enjoy a cup of tea and a slice of Mr. Ada Jones's homemade ginger spice cake. Well, happy days.